Hey guys, this is Matt Stark here with Discussion America, and today is Election Day. It's something that's been hyped for the last 2 years, although with the whole COVID situation, we didn't have quite the same experience of back and forwards and overly aggressive campaigns and debates, as much of debates as we had in 2016, where it actually kind of got a little bit wearing on us, but still delivered a bunch of fantastic clips to hang on to. And it looks like we are about to repeat what happened in 2016 as far as a Trump upset again in 2020. We've been listening for the last 3, 4, 5 months about how Biden is trouncing Trump in the polls, and now that we're getting down to the actual day of the election, it turns out that that's not going to be the case. I saw it here, like we're in Texas, and the one thing that's becoming definitely more apparent down in our neck of the woods are these Trump trains, and one of them that made it went pretty viral was this clip here when Biden was coming through Austin and then through San Marcos, and the bus was, at least. Neither of the candidates were on it, but it wound up getting surrounded by a bunch of Trump supporters in their trucks and cars with flags waving, and they basically escorted the bus out of town. It's pretty crazy to think something like that happened in an election before, but here we are. So in the beginning, when this first went viral, the clip that was showing was this black truck here actually making contact with a white SUV that was, driven by a Biden staffer. So it got put under an FBI investigation, and FBI has come back saying that it was actually the white SUV or the driver of that SUV who was at fault. If you haven't seen this before, I'll go ahead and just play this clip real quick where you can see coming up here, it's this guy, this car right here. And so you've got this black truck. He's coming up in his lane directly behind the Biden bus, which is straddling 2 lanes at this point. And you can see this white SUV is trying to change lanes over, maybe to follow the bus if you want to give him benefit of the doubt. But he clearly knows that truck is there. Eventually, the driver of the truck has had enough, and he taps the car and basically pushes it out of the way just so he can hold his lane. So anyway, that's something I never thought I would have seen before, but here we are. So what I want to do now is walk through some of the stuff that's going on, because mainstream media is literally freaking the F out. They've been trying to program through their all their different shows and their polls and their media and all their posts and everything about how Trump just doesn't stand a chance. And here we are coming up. We are on election day, and Trump is running away with it. Momentum for the last week has definitely been on Trump's side. I'll go on the record of, I was saying to a friend of mine that if I was looking at the Trump campaign, a couple of errors that I called them on, or what I thought was errors, was I thought the early voting and the mail-in ballots, they should have gotten further ahead of it with this type of level of messaging that they're running now in the week leading up to it. I feared that they might have missed too much of an opportunity to capture these folks who had cast their votes prior to all of this happening. And second, I thought that maybe they had played the mentally unstable Biden too heavily, and they set the bar so low that if Biden just had both his shoes on in his pants and knew where he was in his name, that people thought, well, hey, he's not so bad, right? So anyway, let's take a look at some things that are coming up in the media now, and then talk about a few things that the media, I think, are going to do to try to drag this thing out. Because one thing about media is they are addicted to the revenues that come from the attention, and there's nothing like an election to drive a ton of attention to these channels. So the mainstream media does not want this election to end tomorrow. They do not want this election to end on election day. They want to drag this out. They want states like Michigan to be so close that Michigan actually has a policy now where they are not opening the mail-in ballots until today, the day of the election, and they've given themselves 14 days to count the votes and tally everything and turn in the results. And if it's close and Michigan becomes the swing state that's going to decide the election, that means we're going to go on through this eternity of time. 2 weeks will feel like an eternity while we wait to get to the end result. So let's take a look at a couple of things here that are just super interesting. Building off of the Trump train that came through Texas, now it's starting to happen all over the country. And this is in Southern California. This is San Diego. San Diego has these massive amounts of people gathering, driving up and down the street, showing their support, showing their patriotism, and showing their support for President Trump. So this is something, again, this is like a new phenomenon that's going on. So right here, Las Vegas odds maker announces final prediction, Trump electoral landslide coming. Who would have thought this, right? They were chastising this guy and ripping him apart for all of his rallies. I mean, if there's one thing that Trump has done during his first 3+ years in office, is he never allowed his base to sit down. He kept going out and doing rallies. He stayed in campaign mode through his entire presidency or first term of his presidency, and it's paying off in spades. Here's another article over here. This is where Biden leads Trump, needs election day surge to win, CBS Battleground Tracker. So this video here is basically all of these networks, all these mainstream networks, everybody who's pushed against Trump or rallied against him are now caught in a position where they have to come up with alternative pathways that might show somehow they showed or planned or predicted a Trump win, because they cannot be discredited like they were in 2016. So as you look through tomorrow through the headlines, and we'll be doing a great job of capturing these headlines and putting them out there and sharing them with you through our Facebook page. If you're not following us already, please go to our Facebook page, click the like button there, and you'll see our updates throughout Election Day. But these networks cannot be discredited again the same way they were in 2016. If they didn't create these alternate paths and these alternate stories that they're creating right now, they're just going to end up looking like complete idiots. They will anyway, but they're trying to lessen the damage. Here's the other ones that always come through that are great. I'm going to go ahead and play this. This guy's a gaffe machine. He just keeps giving us more and more. I mean, here he's in. Thinks he's wearing an Eagles jacket, and he's actually wearing a Delaware Hens jacket. But he actually points to the jacket and says he's wearing.
I was very happy to have the moniker of being known as Pennsylvania's 3rd senator. I know Philadelphia well. I married a Philly girl, by the way. And by the way, I got my Eagles jacket on.
It's not even an Eagles jacket. Look at the difference between the logos over here. All right, let's move on. So the next one, if the new batch of polls are correct, Trump will soar past 300 electoral votes. And this is what's needed. With the mail-in ballots, the absentee voting, the everything that they've tried to do to manipulate this election cycle, using COVID for part of that process, this election cannot come down to a close call. The best case scenario is that it's a landslide. And what better devastating way to spike the ball on bleeding heart liberals than to have a landslide? What do we got here next? Oh, this is getting back to the Trump train. Let's go to... Let's go over here and take a look at this one. We've got the latest polls out of Iowa foreshadows a disaster for Biden. And traditionally, if he leads the election in Iowa, then he can take Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, which basically wraps up the election for Trump. So they're concerned, right? So this guy, Bill Kristol, I mean, we all know who he is. He's definitely not a Trump fan. He's having the same conversations with people now, getting the same information back that he did in 2016, and he's freaking out. Basically, if Trump wins at 7 points over Biden, then the election is his. And last time, Trump won by 9.4 points. Now, this was the golden goose's egg of the election, but it did not get picked up by mainstream media. This whole set of scandals that just keep coming out. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, this guy Hunter Biden and his laptop and everything that's come out about this guy. It's just been almost comical. If anything, Biden never was really very strong of a candidate. Definitely not strong enough to weather a family member being caught in implicating him in all of these different scandals. So here's another one, right, based on restaurants. So restaurants are tired of the shutdown. They're tired of being closed down. So they're going to vote Republican. So this is what this whole article is about here. So you've got Democrat restaurant owners that, in order to save their businesses, have to change how they vote, and they're going to vote for Trump because they know he wants to keep the economy open, which means they're small businesses. This one is funny. Kamala introduced as the next president of the United States. Let's go ahead and play this.
I am so honored to introduce the next president of the United States, Senator Kamala Harris.
So everybody knows, right? You've heard all the stories about Biden being mentally incapable of handling the office. So there's going to be this switch out right after he wins. Basically, they're trying to just ram this candidate that they thought was going to have enough brand power and staying power to at least get through the election, and then swap him out with a candidate that's way more controllable. Kamala Harris was picked because she is on a short leash to the DNC. Here's another one, just because these are always funny. Let's check this out.
Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care.
What? Anyway, I want to put together a montage of these two and share that. And then last one here is this is another one talking about how they're worried. It's very concerning, and how they're trying to come up with a plan to legitimize their news coverage over the last 4 months that showed that Trump had absolutely no plan. So I hope if you haven't voted early already, then you're going to get out, put your vote out there today, support the president, and keep an eye out. Please be sure to like our Facebook page. Go to Facebook. You can search for Discussion America. It'll come up. Hit the like button, and we're going to post a bunch of videos tomorrow on the progress of how the election coverage is going. Thank you so much for being a valued subscriber, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Thank you.